Right, Angry Bears fan podcast episode 56. Do us a favor, like the video, subscribe, comment, please, anything, a smiley face, anything. But yeah, help us out with that. We've been getting a lot better engagement the last few weeks. I don't know if it's a Justin drama, but it is what it is. We got our DC, got a passing game coordinator, a couple other small coaching jobs. So it looks like we're done. Weren't our coaches down with the Senior Bowl as well?
Yeah, all of them were.
Um, so um, nobody we signed, I guess, is pointing any fingers in any directions. A lot of just sitting around, posturing and waiting. A lot of weird news coming out around, and yeah, I'm sure we'll touch on that here real quick. I think you got.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of touched up on it a little bit. We got a new DC passing game coordinator, Thomas Brown. I think it's a good hire. He was the offensive coordinator, Carolina last year. Obviously, Carolina wasn't that good, but really wasn't much he can work with. He's well respected around the league, and he's also a McVay disciple. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I'm excited about the offensive staff that they put together. It seems like they've really kind of, made a good push for good coaching, whether it be a rookie quarterback. And I say rookie quarterback because, there's some things we'll talk about here in a minute. And, or if it's for Justin Fields, who knows? It's a crapshoot at this point. He's playing this one really close to the best. He said he was going to try to take it all the way to April. I mean, there's a lot of
Looking
rumors
like
going
that.
around.
I don't
Um,
think he'll be able to make it to April just because just a lot of stuff's going to happen. Interviews. Caleb's got a camp that we've seen come out. He was on yesterday or 2 days ago. Cowherd basically spoke and said that if he was them and like implied that like he has ties to the camp, he knows people. They talked to him that Justin shouldn't want to go to Chicago. It's a disaster. That kind of blew up in his face, and the next day he recanted and said that was like his opinion and things like that. That's what he would tell the Caleb camp, but they reached out to him and said that that isn't true. He is an anti-bear. Um, Again, what I don't like about all of this is like hearsay. Like I understand certain guys, you got a PR team, but this isn't normal for the number one quarterback for all this drama to be like, oh, he doesn't want to go there. He doesn't want to go. You know what I mean? He wants to do this. He wants ownership. I'm not saying he wants these things. I'm just saying it's weird that it's a story in general. And we've said it before. You know what I mean? That it's smoke where there's smoke, there's fire. And I just think he could literally put an end to all of this, put a post up on Twitter that nobody could comment on and say, "Hey, I don't know what all this is." He don't even have to say he wants to come to Bears. He could just say, "I want to go play. I'm going to go play wherever, and I'm going to go and win football games wherever," and not necessarily name the Bears and just put an end to all this. But to me, when you don't do it, it makes me like you like the chaos. You guys want to see what's happening. You want to see if this pressures the Bears. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, Colin kind of he didn't necessarily backtrack what he said when he was on ESPN radio. He spoke with Waddle and Sylvie. They asked him a few questions. They came up with a good, I don't know if it was Sylvie or if it was, I think it was Jesse Rogers that was talking about Colin refers to Colin's dad, or not Colin's dad, Caleb's dad quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like he's always talking about his father and, this, that, and the other. And Colin, I guess, is a big USC fan. He's been to USC games many a times this year, and I guess he's got a close kind of relationship with Caleb's father. So I'm assuming that he just heard maybe his dad talking about it or somebody,
Yeah.
connected to the whole thing, and then, was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna run with it kind of thing. But if it's his dad and he's not saying if it was his camp, whatever. It is what it is. Like you said, he could have went on Twitter and kind of cleared this whole thing up, and he hasn't. So who knows? I mean, it's I won't pass judgment until I you know actually see what happens
I
come draft
agree.
night.
But what I'll say is like Chicago is it's like New York with the media. If you're going to be coming here, you might as well get out in front of it. Like what people like about Justin and things like that is that he um he he faces the noise. He speaks to the public, he faces the music, he answers the tough questions. And like I said, this Caleb thing's a little weird. Also, yesterday, Kingsbury basically they said
Yeah.
Kingsbury is going to get the Raiders job, like it was locked. And then today, breaking news, he's going to get the Commanders job, which is
Well, that's not official yet.
no,
He
no.
just
But he's like they
he
said
took
he's the
his
top
name
of the list.
out.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think he's the big. I mean, there's some big names out. Then you know what I mean. I don't think he's the biggest name out. I just think, but it looks like I mean, and Schefter reported this that he's like the number one candidate and basically getting the job in the Commanders.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna do everything they can. Now you got to remember, just because they do all this doesn't necessarily mean that they will. Because Ryan Poles ultimately, at the end of the day, he's the one that's going to make the decision whether or
Yeah,
not to trade that number one pick. I mean, knowing how desperate, because this seems like a desperation move from Washington. If
yes,
they do hire Kingsbury, you would think that the Bears hold even more leverage in this trade discussion because, it's like, okay, well, if we're going to trade it, how badly do you want it? How badly do you want Caleb Williams?
well, I just think it's
And
a ploy because I think at some point very soon, Caleb's dad or his team are going to come out and say, "We really want to play for Washington. We're there." Maybe not say we're not gonna play for Chicago or you know what I mean. I think it's going to be made clear he wants to go play for Washington at some point. It's already being in the wings. He's from there. Like I said, I don't know if those are leaks, but it's hard for me to just ignore it because this wasn't a thing when Trevor Lawrence was a recruit or when it was a prospect. This wasn't a thing when Joe Burrow was like where it was
no,
like
but it's not unprecedented. It's not
not
like
a
it's never
precedent.
been
It's
done
happened.
before.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when it did, those guys didn't want to be there. It
Yeah,
hasn't.
and
It
even
hasn't happened before where the guy like didn't care. Like it's happened before, but Eli didn't want to go play there. John Elway didn't want to go play there. Like though it happened because it was true. And like I said, didn't happen with Bryce Young. Nobody can Bryce Young can come out and say, "Hey, I don't want to go play for the bum ass Panthers who just traded away everything."
well, Colin also said in his interview on the Waddle and Silly show that you know it's not that they want to be painted as anti-bear. It's more they have concerns about the fact that Chicago has never developed a star quarterback. And those are legitimate concerns, but at
I
the
mean, I
same
agree
time,
there, but
you're right. There's no need to have this whole thing blown up as high as it is because it's causing more drama, and that's just you, Ryan Poles always talks about the character of a player.
yes.
I mean, what's this say about his character? We
And
don't know.
that's why people like Justin. Like I said, he comes out, he fakes the music. If he sucks, if he plays bad, he comes out, he talks, and he takes his lumps. And he seems to be being honest. I'm not saying Caleb has to come out and say I love the Bears. He did post a picture where he was wearing a Bears shirt.
Yeah, it was just a T-shirt with a bear on it.
Yeah, when he was a little kid. So again, it's just weird stuff where it's like he could come out and put an end to this with a sentence to say, you know what I mean? I don't care where I play. I just want to win football games. It doesn't matter where. But when you don't do that, if you know what I mean, if you've got a plan or not, PR team or not, it just seems weird to me. Like because there's just so much confusion. To me, it makes me think your team enjoys the chaos of what's going on.
Well, I mean,
And
realistically, I'm not gonna lie to you, Sean. I don't give a shit if they end up picking him. I don't care about all that as long as he wins football games. If he wins football games, and you know it just as much as I do, it's with all professional sports. If you win, you're a winner. Nobody cares about what you do or how you are as a person. If that were
well,
the
that
case,
yeah, that I agree.
if that were the case, then let's be honest. If we knew half the stuff that we knew now in terms of social media back in the '90s, we'd all hate Michael Jordan. We would think he's a piece of shit as a human being.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I do agree. What I'm saying, I do agree that you won't care if you win. What I'm saying is like I don't think you can win playing somewhere you don't want to be. I don't think you can do the two things.
at the end of
Um,
the day, I mean, I see
I
where you're
think
getting at, where your heart's
you
not in
can
it,
do your
but
job. I think you could
yeah,
do your job and not be
he's a
terrible
professional.
and bide your time. But what I'm saying is like you can't win unless you're putting your all into it. You could, like I said, you could put up 3,800 yards and throw for 25 touchdowns and 13 picks, maybe. I'm not saying he can't. He'll forget how to play football. I'm just saying like if you're not in a place where you want to be, you're not going to succeed. And that's not really even football. That's most people, like just most
I
places
mean,
now. Just
I agree and disagree. I don't necessarily think that's the case because at the end of the day, they're paid on their performance. And if Caleb cares, as much of a diva as what we all are making him out to be, you would think he would care about his performance enough to get paid in free agency. So you know what I'm
True.
saying? At the end
But
of the
what I'm
day, they're
saying is like
professionals, and
for
it's a
a
money-driven
quarterback,
league.
when you're a quarterback, it doesn't like as long as you're not ass, you're gonna get paid.
Yeah, but you're not going to get paid what probably Caleb Williams thinks he wants to get paid.
Yeah. But if
You know
that
what
was
I'm
the
saying?
case,
Like,
he'll never get to leave Chicago anyway, so it won't matter.
I know, I'm just saying in
So it's
general, I
like a
don't
weird
think,
cycle. I know what you're saying that like you got to ball out to get paid, but it's like if he balled out, we're just gonna tag him twice and he's gonna end up playing here for 7 years anyway. You know what I mean? Like, so he ain't going nowhere, so it don't matter. Well, so I don't know. Like again, I don't want anybody here who doesn't want to be here because I just don't think you're gonna be all in. And being professional and doing your job and being all in are two different things. I think. Like,
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's polarizing. It's one of those things where it's just like there's a lot of this drama stuff going on, and I don't know. I personally, let's see what happens at the combine. Let's see what happens with these pro days. Let's
well,
see
he's only
what
gonna do. Is he even? I'm sure he'll do a little pro day, but it'll only be like a little 10-minute thing. The quarterback's gonna go
Yeah,
crazy,
I'm
and
just
he's
talking
probably only gonna
about.
do interviews at the combine, right?
Probably.
And
And I'm
height,
just
weight
talking about,
measurements.
like the stuff leading up to the draft in terms of what are we going to do? Because the closer we get to the draft, the more of an idea, the direction that, we have a sense Ryan Poles wants to go. So until then, we can't really do anything besides speculate.
I
And
think free
like
agency will tell us a lot too.
this Caleb Williams thing has just completely taken on a life of its own. It has
Yes.
spread like wildfire because it's interesting. Here we
It
are, we're
is.
in the
Well,
Super
because like I
Bowl.
said, it's not normal. Where like when Elway and Eli, when it was a story for them, we knew it was true. So it was like this is like Caleb won't say anything. His team's like coming out and saying, "Oh no, well we like his team. Why couldn't his team tweet out?" Like I don't know. It's just very weird where it's like there is a shroud of mist, and then like the Kingsbury thing. Like I said, just very weird if you're in tune with all this is going on. It's just weird because why would you not take the Raiders job and take the Commanders job? No matter what, both teams are going to have a young quarterback unless you wanted a particular young quarterback. Because the Raiders are going to end up with like Penix or fucking Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
I
not
mean,
like you're not going to get paired with some young guy with some talent. So it's not like he left the Raiders because they got Jimmy G and he wanted to coach a rookie, or you know what I mean, be paired with a rookie. Like the Raiders are going to end up with one of those guys anyway. Like so, I don't know. It's just odd, and like we know there's ties with Caleb and the Commanders. The Commanders just sold their team. They're going to be wanting to make a splash in all of this. They want to get new ownership's going to want to get off on the right foot and get a nice, young, sexy player. Maybe that's May. Maybe it's Jaden Daniels. Who knows? I don't like. It could be that. My guess is they want Caleb because he's going to sell out the seats.
yeah, well, you said it. He's the hometown kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He's their say they've been just as in quarterback hell, lately than we have. But I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid too. You know what I'm saying? Going to Washington, so it's like
he's
you
tough. I
really don't
mean,
have any pressure
yeah.
being here. If you're an average quarterback, you see what we're doing to defend Justin. Even if you're average, we're gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna fight for you. And it's just I don't know. It seems weird that his camp would much rather want the pressure of succeeding in Washington than being in Chicago.
I think they might just be and like feel like they'd be more in the catbird seat where they control things. I don't know. But well, I'm just saying, obviously they want to be there. They're plugged in there. Like if you're from there, you know what I mean? Better endorsement deals, better, you know what I mean, connections, all time. His dad, like his dad's is a part of this a lot too. So like I'm just saying, like you said, it's gonna be tough in Chicago or Washington and making it so I think all this will he, won't he, does he want to play here, does he not want to play here bullshit is going to make it even harder because there's already going to be a bunch of people who really like Justin. So secretly or not so secretly are going to want to see Caleb fall flat in his face. On top of being the number one pick where people are going to want to see you fall flat on your face. You know what I mean? Then you're playing for the top one of the most popular sports franchises on the planet. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not even just the NFL. The Bears in general are, the top 20 sports organization. So it's like
Yeah,
just a
it's a
lot
global
of
entity for
pressure.
sure.
And I think putting this to bed would take some of that off, maybe even win some Bears fans over where like, hey, I know you guys like Justin. I mean, that's got nothing to do with me, but I just want to win football games. If it's on the Bears, it's on the Patriots, if it's on the Commanders, I don't care. I just want to win football games. And that be it. Turn the comments off. Don't respond to anybody else and be like, I just want this out there in the universe. And I'm assuming sooner or later he's going to get a microphone shoved in his face and he's going to have to answer that question. Um,
Yeah,
but I think he would just win some Chicago fan. I won't say necessarily myself, but like I do want to hear from him. I don't really. I know, regardless, I probably wouldn't believe him anyway. You know what I mean? But at least I want to hear the bullshit. Like that. That's part of being a franchise QB, going up there with a the microphone and saying the dumb shit we know you're all gonna supposed to say. Like again, that's part of it where you're like you're not playing the game. Or like you're the franchise quarterback. You can't really hide from these discussions anymore because as soon as you get drafted, it's gonna be every single day a camera in your face until the season's over, and then even after then they're going to be chasing you around. Um, but I just want to hear something one way or another. I know Poles wants to play it close to the vest, but I think honestly we've gotten to the point where I don't think he needs to so much. I think free agency, I think we'll learn a lot. If he goes out and spends a lot of money, I don't think that's good news for Justin. Let's say we, you know what I mean, we go get Brian Burns for, you know what I mean, something or somebody like that or T. Higgins. I don't think that bodes well for Justin if he spends a lot of crazy money on blue chip players with long term deals. In my head, I would be thinking, oh well, he's not planning on paying quarterback anytime soon.
Yeah, and generally when you bring in a rookie quarterback, you want to bring in a veteran backup.
Yeah,
So let's see if, a veteran backup hits the roster at some point during free agency. I think that'll be pretty telling because, like you said, you want to have that a mentor in that position. You obviously don't want to have, you're not going to have Justin there for one, but
no,
Tyson Bagent, you're not going to want a second year D2 quarterback sitting behind your number one overall draft pick. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So that'll be very telling too to see if there's a veteran, backup somewhere. Maybe he waits and, waits till after the draft for that. If they do decide just, for cut reasons or whatever, decide to bring in a veteran, that'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, we're for the next, what is it,
two
March?
months, yeah, two, three
Yeah, so
months,
two
damn
months.
near.
Combine is next month, and then draft is April. Like
When's
it's
free agency start? February, like 18th, or I forgot something, right? Maybe is it March? The beginning of March?
the first day of the first day of the new league year is like March 17th.
Okay, March 17th. I thought it was
Yeah.
February. Yeah. So yeah, then that's when free agency will start. I want this all to be done. Like I spoke last week, I've come to grips that I think Ryan Poles is going to pick a quarterback because I just think that's the safe play. And I think most of the times these GMs do the safe play. They will pretend like they're innovative or anything like that. But like Bryce Young being the number one overall pick, most of the teams would have picked him instead of CJ Stroud. That's just what it is. They get pressured. They get along with the hype and they just pick who they're supposed to pick. And these draft boards are set. And I don't think there's a lot of your personal imprint in it, especially when it comes like at the top of the draft. I know later in the draft, you guys get sexy. They start, you know what I mean? But usually you can guess who the top draft picks are going to be, and they usually are almost always right. I just don't see him pass on. Like I said, unless we get some crazy offer, which I think Washington might be gearing up to make, just to move up one spot. Then who's to say he doesn't pick a quarterback anyway? Like I don't. I think if he moves at all, we're not picking a quarterback because you've been saying, if you want a quarterback, you stay at one and get your guy.
Yeah. But if they know Washington's gonna offer the farm for Caleb and the only person that they're going to draft is Caleb, you might as well,
Yeah, if you know you like
even
May or Jaden Daniels or
yeah,
whatever.
I
Yeah,
mean, there's so many things he can do with it. And just in the draft in general, he's got a lot of flexibility. We talked about the cap space already. We've been kind of preaching that we, once Eddie Jackson and Cody Whitehair get cut and save that kind of salary money, that's going to be, we're going to be sitting at what, 70 million or something like that.
yeah. I think we're at
And
46 right
that's,
now or something
I
like that.
mean, yeah, that's 46 million or $70 million, $60 million, whatever the case is going to be in free agency this year. Like you said, I mean,
They
I
got
think
what Burns, Chase
does what
Young.
is Burn can Burns be tagged again
Yes, he
though?
could be tagged. He probably will be,
So
but
yeah,
I'm
I
just
know
saying.
Josh Allen is probably getting tagged.
Hmm.
So I mean, in terms of rush ads, you probably don't have a lot. You could probably pick up, a decent
I'm
tier
guessing
two
Chase
veteran.
Young.
Chase Young's about to be benched in the Super Bowl. We talk about culture in the locker room. Chase Young's definitely not it.
Is he? I saw something like that, but I never know how much it is. But
Yeah, and well, there was reports that during the trading deadline when he got traded, that Washington was happy to see him go because there'd be times where he just take time, takes plays off and does this and the other, just does whatever he wants to. He doesn't stick to the script. So I mean, you really don't want that kind of player in your
yeah, we'll
locker
see.
room.
Well, I
You know what I'm
just think
saying?
we're
But
gonna have to get a D lineman in free agency. I think everywhere else we have
yeah, I
holes
think
that
it'll
I
be
think we
Danielle
can.
Hunter.
You think so? Okay. Oh, I
Yeah, I
guess
think so.
Post that's been leaked out. But yeah, I think everywhere else we like O line and wide receiver. I think this is a pretty good O line and wide receiver draft coming up, so we can fill those holes in the draft and not have to overpay like Mike Evans. They're saying he's going to want 25, $30 million a year, and he's like 31. We
Yeah,
can't
that's
really
just
afford that. I'm guessing he's going to end up on like Houston or something. Uh,
yeah.
Somebody with a rookie quarterback. I get, like I said, maybe we'll be in that position. Who knows? Uh, but yeah, this honestly, I want to hear from Justin. I know he's got a lot on his plate and he has no reason to talk, but just so like I feel bad for the kid, and I personally would just like propose to put us out of our misery right now and just be like, I'm not, you know what I mean? We're picking whoever or trade Justin or because nothing's even really leaking out that like teams are reaching out talking to just about who are interested in Justin or like what the real market. I mean, there's been some people saying that, but usually they'll be like, oh, six teams called about the, you know what I mean, call the Bears about Justin type of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody really knows for sure what his trade value would be. We just go based off of what, like Sam Darnold when
I
when
don't
he
think
went.
that's a fair one because I think he's better than Sam Darnold, like ever was. I
Well,
mean,
that's just like the base, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? That's kind of like you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like, okay, that's the measuring stick. Let's see if we can get something better kind of thing.
yeah,
And I'm sure somebody, if he does trade Justin, maybe somebody in the late first, or you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
high 20s, anywhere from 21 to whatever. Um, but then maybe somebody who has an early second round pick, maybe you get two early second round picks. You get one this year, one next year. Um, we don't really know. It's all, like you said, it's all speculative right now until we can actually get it in, breaking news from Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport or whoever, we won't know. And it's going to be eventful. It's going to be one of the most thrilling, eventful off seasons in Chicago history in terms of the Bears. And this is going to be, we keep talking about this being Ryan Poles' legacy. This is Ryan Poles' legacy. What he
Yeah.
does in this draft will determine Bears football for the next 5, 10 years.
Bears
Um,
football on this, yeah. Just like that being said, I don't see uh, uh him not taking Caleb because if Caleb's bad, he can blame like it won't be that bad against him. I think like it'll just be like everybody said he was good. Everybody thought he was gonna be good. He was a bust. Like so, it's just not that like if Justin's bad, everyone's gonna be like, well, you kind of knew he was bad. You should have went with somebody else. So it's just, or
yeah,
again, I don't think he's bad. Like I'm just saying what the narrative is that he's not good. Like so, I think he's average, and I I like to be optimistic and think he'll just get better. I mean, historically, usually that doesn't happen. I can agree there, and I usually make a lot of my arguments based upon how things normally go. But I'll also admit that I'm biased, and when I like you, I will give you the benefit of the doubt more so than anybody else. Um, but I think Poles will save his job at least for the next few years. Get Caleb, and like I said, I'll just have to come to grips to it. Um, and again, when if Caleb, if he's good, I'll just pretend like I never was hating on him for years. But I don't know. I like to think I know a decent amount about football, and before he was even on the Bears' radar, I was before we even thinking about him replacing Justin Fields, I was just going through some of our old videos. I was big on I didn't like Caleb, and both of us. I was just watching our old video where we were like, "Why the fuck is Bryce Young getting picked before C.J. Stroud?" We both were pretty adamant about how we just believe that C.J. Stroud was just flat out better than Bryce Young, and that's how I feel about Caleb. So I don't want to come off it. It is a heightened because he's you know what I mean gunning for the quarterback's job that I like, but I just never been a fan. I've never saw the Patrick Mahomes generational. All I see is like crazy college play that a lot of the college players make. Like I don't know. He had a really good year. He's got a live arm, sure, but I think a lot of these guys are really good. And depending on who their coordinator is and what kind of offense they're running, that's who makes them look more explosive. But Caleb, he does all the things that we like everyone hates about Justin. And we're basically saying, "Oh, we'll coach him up." Well, damn, we can just coach him up with the guy we got then? Is what I'm thinking. Because he holds the ball too long. He's trying to make hero plays, and just like I said, bad habits that we saw with Justin that aren't gonna work in the NFL. And we see with a lot of rookie quarterbacks that aren't gonna work in the NFL. And I guess they're being optimistic, but saying he's the next Patrick Mahomes is weird because Patrick Mahomes was the fucking 11th pick in the draft after Mitch Trubisky. Like, so it's weird. And like this guy you're saying is the number one pick. Like Patrick Mahomes wasn't even the number one fucking pick. So how is he the fucking next Patrick Mahomes?
No, they're just talking about his ceiling, just his talent wise,
I
what
don't.
he's
And
able to
again, I just
do.
think that's unfair. So his ceiling is the best quarterback ever. Like, isn't that everybody's ceiling?
I
Like, you know
mean,
what I mean? Like, isn't that everybody's ceiling? Like, I'm more interested in your floor, I guess, more than the ceiling, because every in my head, everyone's ceiling for the most part is the same thing. Unless you're like slow, you can't be fast
well,
and good.
they say that, these are the professional scouters. They say that Caleb Williams' floor would, is practically that. Now this is the comparison they make. Caleb Williams' floor is Justin Fields' ceiling. That's what
Like, that
that's
doesn't even make
people
sense to
are
me.
that's what
Like,
people are saying.
because I think let's say Justin Fields' ceiling is Lamar Jackson. Like, they're saying Caleb Williams' fucking floor is two-time MVP. That's implausible. Like, and that's where it's like, how can I trust your opinion if that's what you're saying? Your floor, I mean, like we just know that's not going to happen. Just like none of the like how many of the number one overall picks are two-time MVPs? Like two of them, three of them. Like Peyton, I think he's got three. John Elway, I don't know if
Peyton,
he's got
Elway's got two.
yeah. Cam's got one. Stafford, no, Stafford doesn't have any. Cam
No,
Newton got
Stanford
one.
doesn't have an MVP.
So I don't know. A lot of these, that's how I feel about these. Compare like the number one quarterback is never. I was just arguing with some guy online. Where it's like he's like, I'm like, the number one quarterback's almost never the best guy in the draft class. Like a lot of the times, it's like Lamar Jackson was the the third or the fourth. Josh Allen was the third. Like Brock Purdy
Hmm.
was the 15th. Like you never know which one of these guys is going to be best. And to me, he just doesn't. He's got like he's small. Like well, again, how many small quarterbacks are really good in the NFL? Like not a lot.
Well, he's a little over 6'1".
Yeah, that's small. Like
Well, they Patrick Mahomes is 6'2". Um, I mean, he looks stockier in photos. I mean, he
he
may be a
looks
little.
like a mix
He's not.
between
He's not
Baker and
frail.
Kyler to me. He
Yeah,
look
he's
and
not
he's
frail
from
like
that
Bryce
tree.
Young is, but
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's a little bit bigger version of Bryce Young. I think he's a bigger, slower version of Kyler more so. Um, and Kyler is impressive, I guess, but he's again, I don't. The Lincoln Riley offense has yet to um migrate and translate into the NFL. Even Jalen Hurts, even though he went there, he runs the ball like fucking more than the running back does. So they're not really running what Lincoln
yeah,
Riley was doing. Not again. Oh, no. I don't. And I'm trying. I hate that I'm always shitting on Caleb because and now I just feel like I'm hating. But I've always had doubts. Like I never got why he was the fucking next generational quarterback. I never thought he was better than like fucking much better than like Bo Nix or fucking Michael Penix. Like I don't know. In the NFL. I'm not big on winning being uh, a quarterback thing, but in college, like if you're generational, like you're supposed to be so much better than these guys. In the NFL, everybody's an NFL player. In college, everybody's not a generational talent.
yeah, but
So
still, at the end of the day, it's a team game. I mean, he can't play defense too. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, I'm
I mean,
sorry, but
yeah, some of these guys. I mean,
if
Deshaun
you're putting
Watson couldn't
up
play defense either, but he just scored more points on Alabama.
if you're putting up 40 points a game, that should be good enough to win any game.
Well, he's not putting up 40 points a game. He's putting up a bunch of points on bad teams, and then that's how averages work. So it looks like
He
he's
what
playing.
do you talk? He scored 40. What was that? 41 points on Utah. Another 40 something points on Washington.
I mean, Washington's
Like
defense
the
sucks.
Washington was the two ranked team in the
Yeah,
country.
but they had a shitty defense.
It
We
doesn't
saw it
matter.
on
It
display
does
on the
it,
national.
it doesn't. You look at all the games. You take a look at Notre Dame last year.
Well, what I'm
Granted,
saying that's an
he
example
had a
why I
bad
think
game
Michael
this year.
Penix is so good because he was on a shitty defense and they did well. He carried them.
but not against good defenses. Caleb Williams has done this against good defenses. His
Yeah,
defense is just historically bad. You like
okay.
it's just that when you're giving up 48 points a game, and that's essentially what USC defense averaged. It was like 40 something points a game they averaged giving up.
Okay.
How you have to be damn near perfect every game to win
Okay.
as a
So, but what
quarterback.
I'm saying is like, why doesn't like again like if we're giving Caleb that grace in college, we couldn't give Justin Fields the same grace?
No, because Justin Fields was throwing the 3 first round draft pick wide receivers.
I'm talking about in the NFL. The defense sucked historically bad for
Yes, the
over
defense was
for a year
historically
and a
bad,
half. They were giving up 33 points a game.
but he also did not show enough improvement in those 3 years to warrant them possibly missing out on a generational prospect. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this is how the league thinks. This is how the league works. This is what coaches think for the
Okay,
most
yeah,
part.
like I said, but what I'm saying, it doesn't make sense when it's like you make these excuses that are like, this is why Caleb didn't do good in college. They're like, okay, we'll overlook those, but it's like he's gonna have these same problems on the Bears. Like, so
Yes,
like, why
but
do we expect him to overcome it on US? He couldn't overcome it on UFC, so how's he gonna overcome it for the
be,
Bears?
because he is going to the NFL, a professional league with better coaches, and you know what I'm saying, the tier up in terms of coaching and everything else like that. It's a difference between a year 3 player going into year 4 having the same issues that he had when he was a rookie, and then bringing in a rookie. If
I
Caleb
don't think
Williams
he
looks
has
like
all the
this in
same.
3 or 4 years,
Again,
then
I don't know what like this is because like I don't think he looked. There was bad play. Yes, he looked average, but to say there was no growth, I don't see that at all.
I'm
And
not saying there's no growth. I'm saying there's minimal growth.
again, I don't know about minimal. He looked like a deer in headlights his rookie season. I don't think he looked like a deer in the headlights now. And I think
His footwork
the
was quicker,
team
his
make
release
min.
was quicker.
The
There
team was
it's
minimal
he's regressed in a lot of areas,
again,
and
but I don't
but
know.
he's
But you said like
progressed
the
in a lot of
footwork
areas. It's
and the
just
drop back. If he regressed in that manner, was that the coach? Like, did they ask him to do that? Like, again, I don't know these things. You don't
yes, it
regress and
was it
drop
was
back,
Luke
and you
Getzey
don't.
that changed up his footwork. And I like I said, we talked about coaching being a big thing, but at the same time, he still can't he still doesn't throw over the middle of the field. When he does throw over the middle of the field, it's accurate, yes, but he does have a tendency to sail balls. He, in terms of completion percentage, it's went up a little bit. His QBR actually went down from last year. There, like I said, there's things that he does well, and there's things that he doesn't do well. And the things that he doesn't do well has not progressed enough significantly enough to the coaching staff or to Ryan Poles. If they decide to draft a quarterback, they feel like that those things that he was not good at have not progressed enough further for them to pass on the number 1 overall pick. It's just it,
Yeah, okay, but what I'm saying is like, so you're saying that my coaching staff can't fix Justin, but they are going to be able to fix Caleb.
it's a whole new offensive coaching staff now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, yeah, it's a whole new offense coach staff. What I'm saying is like, you don't think they could fix Justin, but you
Well,
do
no,
think they'll
there's
fix
there's
Caleb.
different learning curves. A rookie you can beat to death with stuff. In the NFL, if
I
you
don't know if
have a
that's. I
bad
don't.
habit, yeah, it's hard to change a bad habit in the
Well, what I'm
NFL.
saying is like they
Carry that
changed his
over.
initial habit, and he changed it just fine. We just don't like it. But why can't he change his drop back? He changed it
It
once.
it's all I get what you're saying, and I'm not like again, I'm not disagreeing with you and saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this is how the league has historically worked. It's just the way it is. It's a business. If they're not gonna sit there and hey, we've given you 3 years, whatever coaching, bad coaching, that's on us. Sorry. Hopefully this new place, you can catch on. As opposed to bringing in a guy year 1, okay, new coaching staff. Nobody else at this level has dug their teeth into this kid. This is our opportunity to do so. There's a difference between that and okay, we're the 4th set of coaches to dig our teeth into this kid. What's going to change? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And this is what we've seen with the Bears just historically in
Well,
general.
I'm just saying, I think doing the same thing over again would be drafting another quarterback to when you just fired, like when you're about to fire the head coach.
Yeah, but you've also never had the opportunity to pick a quarterback number 1.
We do this every week because like I don't know who like being number one. Why does it matter? None of the best quarterbacks number one picks. Like
It
not
doesn't
none of them,
matter
but like
in terms of just sheer talent. Sure, development wise, there's quarterbacks that develop later that develop into the best quarterbacks in the draft, but off of sheer talent as a prospect, never a better
Yeah,
opportunity.
but football's not a talent. Like the best quarterback ever is like the least talented quarterback. Like Tom Brady's talent wise, he doesn't have a super strong arm. He's not fast. Like he's not like he's not like talent super talented. Even Peyton Manning didn't have a crazy strong arm, wasn't an athlete. He had good touch on his ball, but he was a fucking cerebral assassin. He learned that. Like I don't know, like this talent is overrated. Like we're getting enamored because he's got that cool haircut that all the kids wear now, and he's light skinned like Patrick Mahomes. Everyone's like, oh, he's Patrick Mahomes because he's got the same haircut as him. It's like, yo, you didn't think Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes. Nobody thought Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes. So how
I,
now in hindsight to be like, oh well, he's him. You didn't think he Patrick Mahomes was doing all that same shit in college, and he wasn't a generational talent because he
well,
wasn't with Lincoln Riley, because he wasn't on the big stage at Oklahoma or USC. And it's like, just like you see,
what
Brock Purdy's good. A lot of these guys are good. Like
what I will say is that Sean Payton has come out and Sean Payton. There was two people widely respected that said that C.J. Stroud was the best quarterback in the draft last year, and that was Sean Payton and I forgot who the other person was, but and then Sean Payton I guess came out last week at some point and was just saying this kid is amazing. He's just I trust Sean Payton's word on what to look for in a quarterback. If he's very high on Caleb, I can see where people would be infatuated because you have one of the best coaches dealing with quarterbacks. I mean, he made Russell Wilson look serviceable this year. I know Russell's a
I don't think
veteran,
that's fair to
but
say he made him look serviceable. He always looked serviceable. He had one
not
down
last year.
year.
Last year was
Yeah, but that was
bad.
his first year after being on the team for 10 years. He's old and fucking moving to somewhere different altitude on a bad team. It's like I wasn't expecting Russell. I like Sean Payton too. I'm not shitting on Sean Payton, but he didn't make Russell Wilson look good. Like Russell Wilson is a good quarterback,
I'm not
and
saying he wasn't, but the offensive scheme and the adjustments that Sean Payton made to his offense for Russell enabled
well,
him
I
to
could think
play
that,
better
yeah,
this
but
year.
I don't think like, yeah, maybe that a better phrasing, but I think Russell would have been just fine. Like he had a down year. I'm sure whoever was the coach, he would have turned around and been mediocre and not made the playoffs. Like, not saying he even had a good year. I'm just saying like, I think he would have won 8 games or whatever the hell they won with whoever. Um, but I don't. Sean Payton, is he the fucking quarterback whisperer? Like he had Drew Brees. Like again, is this Belichick thing again where we're attributing all of Brees' success to the coach? Like we're seeing it firsthand. People really don't think Belichick had much to do with Brady, and it's played out that way.
Yeah, I
So it's like is just because Sean Payton for 10 years or whatever had Drew Brees, he's the quarterback whisperer. He
I think it
drafted
was even before.
he drafted
I think it was
Jameis,
even
didn't
before
he?
Drew Brees. Huh?
He drafted Jameis, didn't he?
No, Jameis was drafted in
Or the
Tampa.
Tampa he traded for? Or no, he didn't
He,
draft
he just
Jameis.
signed him
No.
as a free agent,
But
as a
again,
backup.
I don't know what makes him the quarterback whisperer. He had Drew Brees. Like is that like Andy Reid is the quarterback whisperer, and there's proof. Like who else is Drew Brees? Like if Sean Payton done good with, like Andy Reid's done it with fucking Vic McNabb, Kevin Kolb, Nick Foles, Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like they all basically had Diamond borderline Hall of Famer, Alex Smith borderline Hall of Famer from his years with Andy Reid. You know what I mean? Kevin Kolb had like a fucking MVP caliber season that got him a bunch of money. But you know what I mean? Like Mike Vick resurgence, like he was a legend in the NFL, but he was actually good, like throwing good passes. They had a nice scheme for him when he was with Andy Reid, and that's who I think the quarterback whisperer is. And uh, I don't know. I don't guess it's just bad blood. I just think Caleb is gonna not be good.
I mean, we'll
There's too
see.
many good ones too. Just like what are there 6 guys with first round grades? That just means like only one of them are going to be good, right? Like just like the maybe 2 out of the 6, maybe. So it's like that. It's a lot of again. I'm just looking at things, and maybe we've turned a new leaf in NFL history where 10 good quarterback prospects will come out every year, but I don't think so. Like, and every year one of them's got to be generational. It'll be fucking Shadur Sanders next year. fucking Archie Manning the year after that. But I just want it to be over. I'm tired of thinking about it. It's the only thing you Bears related even going on, and Caleb's dad and Ryan Poles just have us all by the nuts with
It'll
this
be like this
decision.
for the next month and a half.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming like to get towards the end, I guess we don't much to talk about, so we'll get towards the end. I just think sooner or later, Caleb or his camp's going to come out and say he wants to play in Washington, something like that. I don't know if it'll be he doesn't want to play for the Bears, but maybe they'll signal to Washington like, "Hey, send it all. We really want to be there." And then they won't have to blow it up too much. Like I said, they could give up a bunch of first round picks, but maybe keep their seconds or thirds so they can still build around Caleb and end up giving us, you know what I mean, 3 firsts and a player.
Like I said, we'll find out.
All right. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you for tuning in to us argue about Caleb and Justin one more week. We got 2 more months of this.
Yes, it's gonna be. I mean,
Maybe we'll
that's the
start
only thing
doing
to talk about,
once the
really.
Super Bowl's over, we can start doing some mock drafts. Maybe after the combine, we can start doing our mocks that will change every week. But
All
till now, all we have is the will they won't they. But we'll see you next week. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
right, I'll see you.
Bye bye.